Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ellaine, also known as Nurse Who Invests, and today is another episode of Scrubs and Stocks podcast. Today I want to talk about 401k retirement accounts. And so I want to talk about the 5 common mistakes that you need to avoid when it comes to your 401k retirement accounts. And this came up because I was actually talking with one of my coworkers about employer matching, and long story short, like, we both made the same mistake, and I want to talk about it in this video. So if you're interested in learning about these mistakes that you should be avoiding when it comes to your employer sponsored retirement accounts, then stay tuned. So first of all, what is a 401k retirement account? You've probably heard about this on your first job, or if you had a talk with your coworkers about benefits. It is an employer sponsored retirement account. It means that you take a portion of your paycheck and it goes to your retirement, or you're investing it in your retirement. So this account is similar to a 403b or a 457b, if that's something that is offered by your employer. Essentially, they're all the same thing. They all have the same maximum contributions, which is this. And the main difference really with them is that it's either through a private company, which is a 401k, or a government or a nonprofit organization, which is typically offering the 403b or the 457b option. Sometimes there is a penalty to withdraw early from this account. So tax implication wise, though, they all lower down your taxable income. So if you want to save taxes now, this is a great way to invest for your future. And I think that not a lot of people really utilize their 401ks. And you've probably even heard some financial advisors who really poop on 401ks. But I think the 401ks is a good plan, a good strategy as nurses to utilize, like, to have a dignified retirement. I know people who have gone and become millionaires just from 401ks alone, but of course that requires a lot of time. There are other avenues, other accounts that you can also utilize for investing, which we can talk about in a different video, but this video specifically is for that employer sponsored retirement account. So people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to their 401ks that they're not aware of, and some of them I have made myself, so I want to talk about it. But number one is not taking advantage of your employer match. So what is an employer match? Employer match just means what it is. Your employer is matching your contributions when it comes to retirement. So I would check with your HR or with your benefits advisor if you have this specific thing in your retirement account through your work, because I've had different jobs before where they do not do employer matching. Right now, my job matches 6% of my contribution. So what does that mean? So it means that if I am making $60,000 right now as a nurse and my employer matches 6% of it, if I contribute $3,600 of my paycheck to my retirement, then my employer will match that, $3,600. Granted, they're doing 100% matching, meaning it's dollar per dollar. So I would ask your HR if that is something that you do. By the way, if you're listening to this episode on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I do have a video format here on YouTube that you can see me on, where I actually put some diagrams like this, like this calculation. That way it would be easier for you to understand this. But anyways, that is how employer matching works. So that $3,600 is essentially free money that you need to take advantage of. Now, there are some people who only contribute up to their match, not really maxing out their 401ks because they have other things that they want to invest on. But so take advantage at least of that employer match. Now, with that being said, I don't want you to make the mistake that I did when it comes to my employer match. Before, I was trying to be this overachiever kind of person, and I was contributing so much early on in the year with my 401k because I was like, I want to, finish maxing out my 401k. I'm going to finish it by September. That way I get more money in my paycheck, at the end of the year when it's like Christmas, holiday season. I love giving gifts. So I do that before, but the thing that I realized, and this is what my coworker and I were talking about, is that if you have maxed out your 401k at a specific time, for example, in September, from October to December, then your employer is not going to match you on anything because you have already maxed out your 401k from January to September. So that's something to keep in mind. So when you are contributing towards your 401k and you really want to take advantage of that match, understand your employer's matching schedule because it could be different for other employers, but this is how it is for my job, where they would not match you if you have maxed out your your 401k early. So ask your employer. The other thing is keep in mind of the vesting schedule when it comes to your 401k and the matching. Sometimes you cannot take advantage of that match if you leave your job early. So watch out for that and understand the matching schedule. So take advantage of your 401k's employer match. I actually just got paid today, and I want to share with you my paycheck and how much I'm taking out of my paycheck now that I want to max out my 401k. I was only taking advantage of my match earlier this year, but I'm like, I need to contribute more. So I changed my contribution, I think, from 8% to 15%. And now here is how much I am getting deducted from my paycheck from today. So in my paycheck, I am contributing $1,063.65. And the match for that is around $425.46. And so far, year to date, I have contributed $12,000 and $12,001.41. And my employer has contributed, matching me for what I have contributed in, with $6,936.98. So the maximum contribution right now for the 401k, I think, is $23,000. I have long ways to go. I have like half ways to go still. So I think that I can reach that max if I contribute this much every paycheck until the end of the year. So make sure you calculate it. Number 2 mistake is ignoring investment fees. So a lot of people don't know that they can actually have access to whatever they're investing in their 401k. A lot of times your 401k will default to your employer's kind of preference when it comes to investment. Typically, that's a target date fund. So a target date fund is this. It typically kind of adjusts to when you're going to be retiring. But I'm a little more not aggressive in a sense, but I like to invest most of my money in index funds. So I would change mine to a low cost index fund instead. And depending on what you're investing in your 401k, that may have some investment fees, some maintenance fees, some administrative fees, especially if you're investing in mutual funds or like ETFs. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. Number 3 mistake is cashing out early or taking out your retirement funds. I have made the mistake of taking out my retirement money, but before, when I did not know anything about all these retirement accounts, I thought that I took out my 401k, but it was actually my pension money that I took out when I switched jobs after, like my first new grad job. And then so I got taxed heavily on that. And if you are thinking of cashing out your money early from your 401k, know that there may be penalties for early withdrawals and also that tax. And it may not be worth it to do it unless you're going to be using it for something that will be giving you more money. I recommend my students that I teach that, you need to keep your money in that investment account. Even if you switch jobs, there is a way that you can roll over your money from your old employer to your new employer. And there are some rules though. I think that you have to have at least like $1,000 to roll that over. But you don't need to take out your money. You don't need to withdraw it because, like I said, penalty and taxes. It's better to leave it there to grow. Now, while we are in this topic of withdrawals when it comes to your 401k retirement accounts, there are ways that you can take out loans in your 401k. You can use it for financial hardships, or if you want to buy a house. There are some rules about that, which I can link in here. But as much as possible, if you are going to be investing your money in a 401k, it's better to at least leave that money there for at least 10 years for it to really take advantage of that compound interest. So yeah, that's number 3. Number 4 mistake is not investing the money inside that 401k when you roll it over. I see this mistake so many times, and I think I was listening to the Money Guy show where they talked about this 401k mistake that most people do, is that they don't invest their money in their investment accounts. Keep in mind that a 401k, a Roth IRA, an IRA, they're all investment accounts. And if you put your money in that investment account and not invest it, it's not going to go anywhere. That money is not going to go anywhere. And it's kind of like you just putting your money in a parking lot, like it's not moving. So by the way, if you want to learn how to invest and you want to really know the difference of this investment accounts and what kind of investments you can buy inside this investment accounts and how it all works and how to do a step-by-step guide, I have a masterclass that you can register for in the show notes or in the link below. You can also go in here in this link. So yeah, so don't make that mistake of not investing your money. And there is a reel that I posted right here on my Instagram that got viral because I think a lot of people resonated with it, that sometimes like when people invest their money in an account, they think that they're investing it, but they're not. So you need to not make that mistake. Invest the money inside your 401k when you roll it over, or make sure that it is invested in something if you do have that account right now. And the last mistake that I see most people do with their 401ks is not looking at the big picture. Like, you have to look at the big picture on how the 401k can fit in your investing strategy. I see a lot of people who prioritize, maxing out their 401ks without paying off their credit card bill. Or they max out their 401ks and they don't even have an emergency fund. There is a way to do both. Like I said, like you should be taking advantage of the employer match. But after that, there are so many other things that you have to prioritize depending on you, of course, depending on your goals. But one of those things would be having an emergency fund, paying off your high interest credit card bill, maybe like starting a Roth IRA for tax-free investment and tax-free growth. But yeah, so not looking at the big picture. Like, don't just like prioritize your 401k if you have other things that you have to be looking at when it comes to your whole investing strategy. Now, I would say though that people who typically like say that 401ks are a scam are financial advisors or like insurance sellers that that would just sell you life insurance instead. Life insurance is not an investment. It is a good part of like wealth creation strategy, but 401ks are great way, especially if you're a full-time nurse or a full-time employee, to take advantage of while you're working your full-time job. So yeah, so hopefully that this episode is helpful for you. Hopefully that you get value from it and you're not making these mistakes. I have made quite a few of them. And so to recap, these mistakes are: number 1, not taking advantage of your employer match. Number 2 is ignoring investment fees. Number 3 is cashing out your 401ks too early and not letting it compound and get that interest over time. Number 4 is not actually investing your money when you roll it over to a different 401k. And number 5 is not looking at the big picture when it comes to how does my 401k retirement account fit in my whole investment strategy. And I wanted to share with you this mistakes that you should be avoiding when it comes to your 401k retirement plans. Again, take advantage of it and make sure that you are looking at your whole investment strategy when it comes to, investing. So yeah, so hopefully this episode is helpful for you. I am slowly losing my voice because I don't know, my kids are sick, and I'm kind of nervous because I do get sick every time there's a big event coming up. Masterclass is going to be this Saturday. Hopefully, I'll have a voice by then. I'm going to stop talking for the next few days before that event. But yeah, I hope that this episode is helpful for you, and I hope you guys stay hydrated, stay invested. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.